Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds episode review. This time, I will be reviewing episode 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Every Saturday, I will be reviewing an episode subbed. If you want to watch the episode subbed, I do have it linked down below in the description. So before I get into the reviews of these episodes, I will be going over some, if any, major changes or even minor changes that I find interesting and noteworthy that the dub made from the original Japanese subbed version, and there were two that I picked out. There were actually three that I picked out that were fairly interesting in this episode. So there were two deleted scenes. The first being, there's a scene where Yusei is hacking into the city. That scene is cut in the dub, and then there's another scene where Jack is riding Yusei's D-Wheel. He stole Yusei's D-Wheel, and he is riding it into Neo Domino City. I'll probably have a screenshot of that scene on screen right now. That scene is also cut from the dub. Sometimes the dub cut scenes that I really don't have any explanation as to why they chose to cut these scenes, and I don't really understand that one because it shows Jack just riding on Yusei's D-Wheel into the city, so I don't really get that one. But then the other one that is very interesting, and I was kind of disappointed to learn, is that Yusei is not afraid of insects. He is not afraid of bugs, and I'm disappointed to learn that because I do not like insects. I really do not like bugs. Like, if I see a bug on the wall in my room, I freeze. I do not like bugs at all. And in the dub, he made a few lines during this duel against Yugioh. I forget his name in the English dub, but it's the bug dueler, the insect, the power insect user, that he was afraid of insects, that he was afraid of bugs. Unfortunately, in the original version, that is not the case. He shows no fear towards insects, no fear of bugs. He doesn't have any lines about it. So that was something the dub changed in this episode and changed to Yusei's character, maybe to make him more relatable to kids, since I feel like arachnophobia is a pretty common fear. But either way, his actual character, the original Yusei, is not afraid of insects. So that's kind of a shame. But those were a few changes the dub made to this episode. And what did I think about this episode? I thought it was great. I thought, just like the first episode, the parallels and the kind of symbolism between what Jack was doing and what Yusei was doing, especially at the end of this episode, I thought was really, really good. The episode starts with Jack and Yusei dueling, and we see Yusei lose. And it's one of the, enjoy it, because it's one of the last times we're going to see Yusei lose. But he loses this duel to Jack, and Jack walks up to him and says, there's more than just monsters involved in a duel. You need to, and it's more than just spells and traps as well. You need to have all this, everything work. And Yusei says, after he defeats the bug user in this episode, that he didn't know what Jack meant at the time, but now he knows, and it's what is inside a duelist's soul. He says something along those lines. And I thought what Jack said at the beginning of this episode went full circle, because he says to Yusei, you can't win only using monsters, and this is a duelist that almost only used very strong powerhouse monsters, and that ended up costing him, because he used him. We'll get into the duel antics later. Actually, we'll just get into the duel now. The duel was interesting. Basically, what had happened was, while the three people, not Rally, the three other guys, I don't know if we ever learn their names. I think we do, but I don't remember their names. The three guys that are hanging out with Rally and Yusei in Satellite are recycling garbage, which they have to do to get money, to eat, to get food, and as they're doing it, this guy, who's also sitting on a bench with two henchmen, kind of reminded me a little of Manjome with those two obelisk blue clowns that always follow him around, trips one of the people, and all the recycling goods go everywhere, and he gets into a fight with these three. And this is a character who was in the city and keeps bragging about how he came from the city and thinks he's above everyone, but really he's just in vehement denial, because he's no longer above everyone. He's no longer living in the city. He's in Satellite, probably for the rest of his life, and he's having a tough time accepting that, so he's making everything difficult for everyone else, for all the people that are in Satellite that he still views as trash, that he still views below him. And he gets in a fight with the three people on Yusei's friend list and beats them up. And, they go back, they get the crap beaten out of them. Yugioh, that's his name, Uryu. Uryu, I tried to listen to how they were pronouncing his name, and it went right over my head. I just could not get a grasp on it, but I'm not bilingual by any means, so I apologize if I'm really saying that name wrong. Uryu and these two of his friends, one didn't speak, just like laughed the whole time, get beat up and they get reprimanded by security. Maybe not beat up, but they get reprimanded by security for causing a fight and for causing trouble. And so they walk and they find Yusei and his friends while they're working on Yusei's D-Wheel. We also learn that Yusei is going to try to make an escape out of Satellite. There's once a month, there's a pipeline that freezes up, that doesn't have garbage going through it for 3 minutes to do maintenance. Only once a month, meaning in the entire year, this pipeline does maintenance for a total of 36 minutes. For the entire year, that is it. And that is the window that Yusei has to ride out of the pipeline, get through before the garbage comes, and escape Satellite, which is obviously risky because I imagine if he doesn't make it to the end and the garbage starts coming again, he's probably going to drown and die in garbage, and there's not many more disgusting ways to go. So it's a very risky mission, although he never said that if he doesn't make it, he'll die. It might be that he'll just get pushed back by the garbage and he'll be able to come out on the other side, where he started, but still, I can't imagine it would be a very pleasant ride if he does get caught. So very risky mission there, and that's why he's having Rally time his D-Wheel laps around sewers because he knows he has to be sub 3 minutes, and he's getting it to around 2 minutes, so he's getting it with time to spare. But anyway, these goons find Yusei and they find these three, and Uryu's like, it sucks that a D-Wheel so nice is in the hands of Satellite scum like you. How about you give it to me, and then we forget about this whole incident. And Yusei just goes, I refuse. I love how the whole time this is happening, Yusei is just so calm. He reminded me so much of Yusaku, who is the current protagonist of Reigns right now. The only difference is, at the end of this episode, he talks to Uryu a little more than I think Yusaku would, so he's a little more personable, but he's still very to himself, very, he speaks the bare minimum. He only speaks when he feels the need to. He doesn't like to butt in and really defend people unless he feels the need to. I mean, in the first episode, he didn't even refer to Jack when everyone was ripping on him, and Jack was the one who stole his D-Wheel and stole his ace monster, which we see Jack holding at the beginning of this episode. So very, very calm, just to himself protagonist Yusei, which is much different than Judai from GX, which was obviously the show before. I think I even said that in the first episode review. So anyway, the duel starts, and if Yusei loses, he's gonna have to give up his D-Wheel, and Yusei took this character, Uryu's insults personally, because he was kind of laughing at their hope. That's how Yusei put it. We also learned that Stardust Dragon, the monster that Yusei played when he got his D-Wheel to work, was like a beacon of light and hope for everyone in Satellite, at least for Yusei's close friends, including Jack. But at the time, they didn't realize that Jack was already having plans to steal the monster and steal the D-Wheel, and it'll be very interesting to find out the motivation behind that. I imagine it's because Jack felt he was better than all of this. He even says to this character, we know the name is Godwin, Rex Godwin, that he thinks Satellite should be destroyed. And Godwin says, well, Satellite's necessary because it's all the people that are making Neo Domino City a better place. They're all working their miserable lives so that Neo Domino City, he even refers to Satellite as a dark hell. That's what he calls it. And everyone there, though, is necessary for Neo Domino City and Neo Domino City's citizens to live their best life. And they're basically all slaves to Neo Domino City. So it's a very, very messed up system in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. And anyway, Yusei duels him because he feels like Uryu stepped on the hope and laughed at the hope and mocked the hope of all these characters in Satellite, Yusei, Rally, and the three that they initially beat up. This character uses a power insect deck, so he uses very strong bug-type monsters. He also uses a continuous spell, and I found this to be the most funny part of the episode, called Rebellion of the Anthill, or Retribution of the Antlion. Jeez, I really... Rebellion of the Anthill. Jeez, that sounds like a horrible Animal Planet movie. Retribution of the Antlion, which means anytime a monster is destroyed, that user takes 800 life points. And that card ends up dealing Uryu, the person who used it, 3,200 points of damage. 3,200 points of damage out of the 4,000 life points he lost. That spell card ended up killing him. And the main reason for that is Yusei at the end used a magic card called Domino Effect. So when Yusei destroyed one of the three and these bug monsters were strong. I think one had 2,400. It was a level 4 bug monster, and it had 2,400 attack points. Is that the strongest level 4 or lower monster in terms of attack points there is? 2,400? Because that is a lot of attack points for a monster that you don't even need to sacrifice anything for. I imagine there's an effect that debilitates the monster a bit. But anyway, Yugioh had that monster. He had two other bug monsters, Doom Dozer and I think like Mechanical Armored Bug or something like that, and they each had 2,800 attack points. So he had some behemoths on the field, but Yusei using Junk Warrior, using Fighting Spirit, which is a card that I actually used in my Millennium Duels deck on the PS3, so I knew about that card. Man, Montage Dragon and Fighting Spirit, I used both of them, so that's actually really funny. And that's a card that when you equip it to one of your monsters, it gains 300 attack for each monster your opponent has on their field. So Junk Warrior goes from 2,300 all the way up to 3,200, destroys one of the monsters, and then the Domino Effect card, Yusei sends two cards on the field to his grave, and it can destroy up to two monsters, the same amount of cards that you remove from your field. It can destroy that many monsters on your opponent's field. He destroys two more monsters. He destroyed 3 monsters in total in that final turn, which dealt 2,400 points of damage just from the Antlion, Retribution of the Antlion magic card, and he dealt another 800 from the initial Junk Warrior attacking the monster with 2,400 attack points. So, really good combo there, and Yusei then says to Yugioh after he defeated him, it's not just about monster cards. And honestly, the monster cards that you played kind of destroyed you because you lost 3,200 points of damage because of that stupid spell, Retribution of the Antlion. So, really, really interesting duel, and a very good win for Yusei, and it was very... You know, he didn't talk a lot. Right after he took a lot of damage, he only had 400 life points left in this duel going into that final winning turn. He didn't have any reaction to it. He just went, my turn, draw. Very, very monotone and very... He's a much different protagonist that we have had comparing to Yugi and Judai especially. Just reminds me so much of Yusaku. I feel like I'm watching a little bit of a friendlier version of Yusaku Fujiki, the current protagonist for Vrain. So, very good episode 2. And then what I loved at the end is Jack looks at the moon and says, I arrived to the city on a moonlit night, very similar to this. And then we see Yusei looking at the same moon, and we know that this could be the night, or maybe tomorrow night, but very soon, that Yusei is going to make his attempt to get to Neo Domino City to get back this card from Jack. So I thought the symbolism there, and again, the parallels between Yusei and Jack, you know, started in episode 1, but they continue strong into episode 2. So I thought it was a very good, solid second episode. I'm very excited to see Yusei move on to Neo Domino City and get out of Satellite and try to get this Stardust Dragon card back from Jack Atlas, this hope back from Jack Atlas, because that's really what it is. So anyway, guys, I thank you all so much for watching. I cannot wait to talk to you down below. Please leave all your thoughts on this episode of 5Ds down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the amazing support. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day.